hard enough difficulty. Anyway, that's not the point of this podcast. The point of this podcast is that we are starting. And this is Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9003, and I am your host, SneakyDevil, of course, as always. We got Max Force here, Atin's fucked off to go be religious, and Gray is being Gray. Also in here.
Gray is gray because gray is gray. Yeah.
Is it time for literary masterpieces? Damn fucking straight, Super Potatoes. That is all you're... Oh, did I just disconnect something? No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Which, just for some reason...
That'll teach you to slam your desk at random.
No, it won't.
No, it won't. Wait, look, just give me like 3 shots or so, and I'll be back to slamming my desk. Anyway, let's see. I'll just minimize this here and throw up a new screen. I was just reading some fanfic before we started, some Doom stuff, and boy, is it fucking awful. Honestly, I really thought Doom Eternal would be successful in getting some interest into the fanfiction section because Doom as a character and how they set up the setting with the whole multi-reality transportation devices and shit like that, it really lends itself to some fan-fictionable crossover shit going on, and yet the section's almost as dead as Tanya the Evil.
Okay then.
But at least Tanya has very good stuff.
That's debatable, but okay.
I'm mostly talking about political record and some of the other shit.
Let's see here.
Most of the other shit is horrible as you...
What's my opinion on Doom Eternal? I thought it was interesting. As far as the lore goes for Doom Eternal, I thought it could have been worse. I'm not really sure why Doom game... Work with me here, fucking... There we go. Holy shit.
You okay there?
Fucking OBS was being a little bitch because it's like, you didn't click on me last, so I'm not gonna take your keyboard commands. Yeah, as far as lore goes, they smoothed out the timeline, sort of. It's still very vague on how this guy led a planet for several hundred years, if he was literally also the guy from Doom 1 and 2, when Phobos was invaded by demons, which was only like 20 years ago. So it's got some wonky timeline shit going on, but they did smooth it out overall in terms of occurrence of events and who the main character is and who some of the other characters mentioned are and how in general the worlds operate. Again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not really sure why a Doom game needs lore, but it's there, and it's not awful, so I'll take it. It's not a reboot, Pedro. Not a reboot.
It's a soft reboot of sorts. It's a thing of like, hey guys, we want to get eyes on this IP again, so we're starting from number 1 again, but it's actually a continuation. So.
Therefore, it's not the Doom guy from Doom 1. No, it is the Doom guy from Doom 1, Pedro.
It is supposed to be.
They literally had a whole cinematic where it was like, oh yeah, we found him, bleeding out here, and he just came from a military station on Phobos, and it is the Doom 1 guy. It's just the timeline's a little bit wonky.
Yeah. But I'll say this, because I've only played a bit of the first Doom. I'll probably, if I ever get Doom Eternal, I probably will play it all the way through because of the sheer movement in that compared to 2016. But I'm shocked that the lore is as solid as it is.
Yeah.
So to speak. Yeah. It's actually kind of interesting because I went into Doom 2016 thinking like, oh, this should just be fun, and then it's like, oh, they actually put effort into this.
Yeah, no, like I said,
the writing and voice acting's pretty on point.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not sure why it needed the lore, but it did a decent job with it. So it's like,
It
okay, I'll take it.
it was a bonus that was it added something nice that can be ignored
Yes.
instead of detracting from the overall
Yes.
experience. The worst thing that you can
Now,
have is detraction
I have to say, in
from that
terms of
stuff.
gameplay, I'm terrible at high movement games. I'm just absolutely awful at high movement games. So, I couldn't exactly play it the way it was supposed to be.
Technically, you're not very good at many games.
I'm actually really
Really.
shit at pretty much every game I've ever played. And I've pretty much only gotten through all of the games that I've played through sheer determination and bullshitting.
And breaking the game by accident.
Yeah, that too, yes.
Honestly,
But
the fact that
As
you were able to
Bannerlord
play
showed.
Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 was kind of astounding now that I think about it.
yeah. But as far as gameplay goes, while I wasn't able to take full advantage of all the systems set up, I felt this is a personal bias of mine. There was maybe a bit too many actives. As I use the Dota term, like you had 2 shoulder mounts and your grenades were on regenerate, and like you if you ran out of ammo you could switch to another weapon, but when you started running out of ammo too much you had to switch to your chainsaw to chainsaw a guy to get some more ammo, then switch to a different weapon, then switch to a different weapon, then chainsaw another guy, then switch to a different weapon, and switch to a different weapon, and then use your actives and then jump around and use the hook and shot. It's just like, oh Jesus Christ. There's so much to keep track of, and I realize that is cool and awesome to people, and then congratulations to the people that I've seen beat the game, on the hardest difficulty. Fucking kudos to you, Jesus Christ. But I am a poor player. I'm near boomer levels of ability. So I can't talk too much on the improvements or disimprovements on gameplay. I am Sneaky, destroyer of games. Yeah. Look, Arn, I literally somehow got a pickup truck on top of palm trees in Dead Island. Because Max told me to take a right, thinking I was going to take a right at the upcoming crossway, and instead I was like, oh, he said take a right, and so I just drove off a cliff. And somehow
Dark Souls?
No, remember Dead Island? Where you're like, okay, take a right. I'm like, okay, taking a right. And just fucking flew off the beach cliff.
That was the day we learned that you could wedge them in the palm trees.
Yeah.
That we had to. We got out of the car and lost half our health on the drop.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah. So I just break games. I just utterly break games. I've been banned from QA testing at my college.
I was about to say, that was only at your college.
Yeah.
In reality, a lot of QA companies be like, get this guy here.
Yeah, in reality, I haven't had any job submissions from them. I submitted to all of them in my area and outside my area. Never heard back from any of them. Sneaky's problems are between the keyboard and the chair. I got a better one. I played Farming Simulator and managed to get the pickup truck into a river. We all know Sneaky can't use GPS IRL. I mean, I can totally use GPS IRL.
Is it following through that it is bad?
I mean, sometimes. Sometimes I think I can do a better route than that. But anyway. We got Max here, we got Gray here, and it would be remiss of me if I didn't do some Worm and Harry Potter, I suppose, then. Let's see.
Just gonna start off with that.
Yeah, just gonna start straight off with that. Let's see, here we go. A gamer worm story. We haven't done that in a while. Let's just start off real strong, and by real strong, I mean not at all.
Buddha save my soul.
Give me the peoples and save my soul. Ending Everything by Puzzle Raven. Major spoilers for Worm. In aftermath of an Endbringer attack, Scion speaks for the second time, and everything, of course, gets worse.
Already, I hate it.
Yes, 48 favorites, which,
That says a lot.
that says a lot for the Worm section, yeah. Drama and suspense.
Say it ain't so.
48
is...
too many.
Wait, hang on. No, this can't be right.
Oh, so, Max, do you remember the Harry Potter story we covered a while back? The one where they were playing Diablo 2 in 92, you know, like 8 years before the game came out?
You and I were having a fucking aneurysm
Oh,
over
yeah.
that.
So I was talking to my coworker, one of my coworkers today, and I learned that they played Diablo 2 a lot, and I was like, oh, just you wait till I tell you about this story. So I described to them this Harry Potter Diablo story, and they're fucking like having conniption fits as I'm telling them about this, because they're just like, the game's not out for 8 years yet. What fucking build are they talking about? What the shit is this stupid crowd? Why is Dudley magical?
Yeah. By the way, are you sure this is a Harry Potter crossover? Because this says miscellaneous games and
I didn't say this was a Harry Potter crossover.
It was going to be a Worm gamer, and
Yeah, I
then
said Worm
something
gamer.
Harry.
And then I brought up Harry Potter and the Diablo Cross. There's nothing to do with this story. I was just, you know.
I could have sworn you said that we were just jumping right into a Worm and Harry Potter
Oh,
cross for some
no,
reason.
no. That one is really bad. I need to be at least 50% drunk for that. Which,
There's only 10 stories in this section.
is too much.
This doesn't seem like a particularly popular section.
No.
No shit.
Well, yeah, no, it's really not.
The video passed 1 billion views in the first hour. The servers had crashed, but by then it had been copied, duplicated, and reached the major news networks across the globe, watched and re-watched. Speculation on what it meant, on what had actually happened, what was running rampant. Only 2 things could be known for sure. For the second time, Scion had spoken, and that legend fired first. Leviathan had... Wow, this is the first chapter. Alright, guys, I guess we're moving on.
What?
Leviathan had retreated, it was true, but he had paused in that bizarre moment where Scion had ceased his assault on the Endbringer, had turned his expressionless gaze to the top of an office block. That moment when the Triumvirate had paused, Legend in Alexandria looking to that same roof. Idolian, I believe that's how you say it? Idolian?
I thought it was
Eidolon.
Eidolon?
Oh yeah, it is Eidolon. I should know that. I played Warframe for hours on end.
Eidolon, staggering as the tidal wave against his force field abruptly dropped to nothing, and then Scion spoke, and Legend fired, obliterating the rooftop and the three stories. Okay. The 3 stories
Conniption.
below it. Leviathan had reached the edge of the bay by then, dove into the water, and near instantly vanished. The water in the city began to drain back to normal levels, and the rain began to ease. As Eidolon? Battered and befuddled, flew to join his colleagues. Scion watched the space above the rooftops for a heartbeat. Then he was gone. Reports came in later of a school bus being saved, a lost child returned, and heroism as usual resumed. Leaving the world with 15 seconds of video leaked from a ward camera phone in a frantic debate over 4 short words. Alright, fine. What are the 4 short words, author? You've actually written an interesting prologue.
Too bad it's so damn small.
Oh, you will help me. Okay, that's weird. And so, Legend annihilated that area. Okay, cool, whatever. Stupid, we're moving on. I'm not interested.
Yeah, lost immediately.
Let's see. Harry Pooper. Dropped in a world of magic, a self-insert Harry Pooter fic. Cool.
Oh God, help us.
All right. Speed run indeed.
Yeah.
Dropped in a world of magic that seemed strangely familiar, I must take up arms to save the day, or I could just tell Dumbledore and let him deal with it all. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. A Harry Potter self-insert fic. 23 chapters at a rough 94k words, and 315 favorites. Completed. So, it's actual book length. A political spoof of the Harry Potter series starring George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Abraham Lincoln, Sam Brownback, and various others. Potatoes, how do you find this garbage? Fine.
This is from 2006.
Yes.
How did he?
How did he what?
How did he find it? Did he just type George W. Bush into
I-
fanfiction.search and just hope?
It's possible. Possibly did. Disclaimer. How exactly am I to do this? Obviously, the characters aren't mine. They are their own. And the plot isn't mine either. I am just responsible for combining it all. Oh, and just so you know, I will be making fun of everyone. Take everything with a smile and a grain of salt. Hope you enjoy, and please feel free to suggest more characters to add to this story. I need someone to replace Snape.
What?
Okay, so from what I'm looking at, it's literally just a name and location replacement. Mr. and Miss Bush were replacing the Dursleys. It's literally the exact wording of canon, except the locations have changed, the people have changed. Kids of Bush's George. Oh yeah, see, the author even was literally copying and pasting it, because right here it says Mr. Dursley. That he forgot to change one of them.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm just gonna not read. Did George W. Bush the boy who lived? Sorry, potatoes. It's literally just Harry Potter, except with Bush as.
This was the last story that this author ever updated on this site.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this appears to just be a bit of a dead account.
Anyway, so magic made a lot of things easier. Cooking edible food with little experience was one of them.
Oh,
Excuse you. I have little experience, and I'm perfectly capable of cooking edible food.
yeah, it's not difficult. Just follow the recipe. Sneaky, quick thing by the way for
Yeah.
that political
Yeah.
story. The author updated their profile back in 01 and changed their username because they became an English major at the time.
Hmm.
And 5 years later, they just copy pasted and did control replace.
But failed at that apparently.
It's still failed at that, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I
that's
couldn't
good.
just conjure food out of the air, nor could I bewitch myself to be an expert chef, but it made steps easier. Boiling water, wave of the wand. Chopping food, wave of the wand. As recipes went, spaghetti bolognese, I believe it's pronounced, right?
I'm not even gonna attempt that. So,
I made it before, I was fairly sure. In spite of my fragile confidence, a half an hour fumbling around in my new kitchen rewarded me with a serviceable bowl of comfort food. Toasting the empty room with a glass of water, I savored my new home's inaugural dinner. Simplicity and familiarity aside, my meal choice had a deeper purpose. It wasn't served in Hogwarts. For all the house elves' commendable diligence and expertise, my first childhood staple had not darkened the great hall's tables in my 7 years of magical schooling. And I didn't want reminders of Hogwarts' simple luxuries, not when I was trying so hard to make it by myself, an experience alien to both my lives. So, from what I'm understanding here, is you died, got isekai'd into the Harry Potter world, and then grew up as a magical, and then
died again.
went to Hogwarts, and now you're telling Dumbledore about things that are gonna happen? Okay. Alright, I guess I follow. I think he's going to school between the period of time that Harry Potter was growing up, so would be post Voldemort. Okay, yeah. Cooking was a small thing, but an important one. Magic was a much bigger thing, and was just as important to me now. My wand, exactly a foot of alder, encasing a dragon's heartstring, easy there, buddy, don't go overcompensating, had not been out of reach for more than a few minutes since I had first chosen me in Ollivander's workshop. It was a part of me, an extension of myself. There, buddy. A flick of my wand sent the dishes scurrying to the sink. A quick to-go scoured what few stains I created on the table whilst I ate. The kitchen had been spotless when I arrived just a few hours earlier, and I wanted to keep it that way for as long as I could. The quaint kitchen had a cream linoleum floor against the walls that had a slightly darker shade of cream. The ceiling was, as it was everywhere else in places, my flat, polished boards fitted together into a smooth surface. Your ceiling was hardwood? Pretty posh. The floor outside of the kitchen was made of much the same. To my moderate disappointment, none of the floorboards creaked with even the slightest bit. You know, you can probably use magic to do that.
nah.
But I don't quite understand the purpose of describing the apartment here. I understand the author wants to set the scene, but I don't think, even when I first moved into this apartment, I went, ah, yes, the floors are carpet, and the white of the walls are spackle, and so is the ceiling. And there is cheap linoleum in my kitchen. I don't think I ever pondered what my apartment looks like in the now nearing 3 years I've been here. Once. How about either of you? Have you guys ever pondered where you lived?
It's a cluttered mess of books and electronics.
Indeed.
Yeah, not much point pondering.
Yeah.
Unless you plan on being in a scene long term, you really shouldn't be throwing a scene out there.
I mean, especially as a starter, like this is the initial chapter of the story, and you just spent like your first 3,000. No, that's being generous. 2,000, maybe 1,000 words, just describing the fact that you cooked spaghetti and are currently in an apartment and eating it. Like that's your hook?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, yeah. You had the summary as self-insert, and then you threw those little bits in of my multiple lives, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not really that interested if the rest of your story is going to be written like this. I mean, you know, good for them. Their spag is decent, but I'm just not interested. But you know what they say? Whenever you're not interested in something, you just need to replace your interest with alcohol.
It's not what they say.
What? What do you mean it's not what they say? That's what they do
what
for women.
Sneaky says.
Yeah, that is what he says.
Woo!
Well, I have to be leaving for a classic WoW raid, which I fucking hate the game now, so probably won't have to be doing it long.
Alright, Gray.
And then it's back to discussion boards. Woo.
Woo. Let's see. Dinner over, I started unpacking. Undergarments, t-shirts, and other casual muggle attire were folded and tucked away into a chest of drawers, while what few sets of robes I had in my solitary set of formal muggle attire were hung in my wardrobe. So, I can understand Harry starting to use the term, and I can understand J.K. Rowling have it be the dominant term in the book. But as a person that had lived, died, got isekai'd, lived again, and then grew up again, why are you using the term muggle? That's like saying just because you lived in, like, the most racist old person's home in Georgia, you started just dropping the hard R. That, no, you wouldn't. Kids would use muggle, not understanding the term. Unless you also died as a child, which I'm guessing you didn't because you are talking about cooking spaghetti bolognese, which I highly doubt a child would even be able to pronounce that, let alone cook it. I need sub badges. Well, you know, Pedro, I get sub badges when enough people subscribe to me. And so far, I have 7. I need 75. There's a minor discrepancy.
Just,
I have a theory as to why it is Muggle that is originally going to be... I'm not reading that. Looking back at Harry Potter, I can't stop cringing that I enjoyed it. This dude was okay with slavery. It was circumstantial slavery. I mean, the problem is when it comes to house elves, is that J.K. Rowling actually went out of her way to show that when a house elf is not, quote-unquote, enslaved to a wizard, they basically start to die and then commit suicide.
Is that actually a thing?
Oh yeah, Winky. When she was dumped out of Barty Crouch's home and debonded from him, she basically fell into an alcoholic stupor and then eventually started to die. And I think she ended up in the end saved because she got bonded to the Hogwarts or something like that. Or Harry as well. I wasn't really clear on the fate of Winky, but yeah, basically for a while she was unbonded, she went to a massive depressive slump and became an alcoholic, and started dying.
I see.
I follow a dude that has 15 and he has sub badges. I haven't been told by Twitch anything about sub badges. I don't even. They have a biological dependency to be a slave. Yeah. Party crotch, yeah. um yeah, it's pretty sketchy, to be honest. Let's actually see what the Pottermore official lore is on them. Let's see here. They do chores, generally young babies, set free against their will. Blah blah. From the story. House elves, blah blah blah. House elves will obey, blah blah blah. House elves need to be free for item of clothing, servitude, you have a blah. Hogwarts, largest number of house elves, blah blah, hundreds, kitchens, cleaning. Practice of house elves being attached to wizards go back hundreds of years. George tells Hermione that house elves are very happy, blah blah blah. House elves, blah blah blah. House elves, blah blah blah. Quick service, blah 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 blah. Speak their minds about their masters as part of their enslavement. Free house elf is able to speak as they please, although as obviously house elves are warned by blah blah blah. They are not concerned that Winky is desperately unhappy, as they feel she has no right to be unhappy when there's work to be done. She smiles when they wages and holidays, that they don't have to do everything they're told. They see Hermione's beliefs as dangerous. See if we got anything here. Spirit self blah blah, slavery, witnessing mistreatment, Hermione, blah blah blah, slave labor, blah blah blah. This is a really out of context. This sounds really bad. Slavery, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that could have picked your words better there.
Whoa! What the fuck, Super Potatoes? Holy shit, my dude! I don't think Twitch is gonna like this.
Did he misclick?
They've gifted a total of 132. What a fucking mad lad. Jesus Christ.
Did he miss? Oh.
Holy shit, Super Potatoes. What? You just fucking T-posed. Holy crap. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take this moment to create a new goddamn role for this man. Holy shit.
Shall we call him bourgeoisie?
The bourgeoisie, indeed.
Because I'm pretty sure he just paid for your next 3 months of alcohol and...
Oh, dude, I'm gonna buy so much alcohol with this.
Oh, fuck, Sneaky, I had to make 5 videos somehow.
Yes, I see Arn has made the too much money roll. I do appreciate that, Arn.
Has he already gone ahead and...
I will, however, change this to the, what's a good one? What's good? Kulak! Excellent! Kulak! Congratulations, you now have the Kulak roll.
Oh, I just realized something. I think every single one here is someone who has at least been own this chat archive at one point or another.
What do you mean?
I mean, I think they visited the channel at one point or another sometime in the last 3 to 4 years since we started doing this.
Just real. Oh, does it? I think it notifies people when they get a sub. So I think it just invented people to give subs.
I'm clicking through these one by one, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, these people that have been following this channel."
Oh, okay.
But
He's gonna revive the stream.
we
Now
don't
there's
have
no
it.
reason for Twitch to suppress me. When the number of gifted subs exceeds the number of people watching, it starts gifting to random followers. Jesus Christ, potatoes. You fucking goddamn mad lad.
It's the fact that there are 100 unique followers for this shitty Twitch channel.
Oh no, Max, we got like 131.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why does he... Okay, sure, why not?
I mean, honestly, we used to be gaining followers like maybe 3 every stream, and then Twitch made those changes, and then we, that's when we lost like 50% of our audience, and people stopped following.
I still have no idea what those changes were.
I don't either.
Not like...
They sent out a newsletter to me, and they're like, "Oh, we've made some changes to help creators," and that did the opposite of help me. So,
Well, to be fair, Twitch being a live streaming platform seems to be much more game oriented than talk show and whatnot.
yeah, I don't have boobs, so that is definitely a detriment to my talk show host career on Twitch. I do appreciate Super Potatoes fucking dumping money in this day and age on me. That is both excessive and appreciated.
I feel bad that we are literally never going to be able to, like, repay this investment.
I mean, I can repay this investment by continuing to make the content he paid me for.
That's true enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Pedro, thank you for that comment. Truly, you are an insightful and informative individual. Anyway, so now that we've done praising Super Potatoes for his excessive amount of spending, let's get back to slave labor. I'm not sending him a signed Sneaky body pillow.
I have the picture still, like,
God
lying
damn
on my
it,
email
Max!
somewhere.
I bet I
could go to that website. Just send a link to Potatoes. Like, here, man, one-time offer.
Oh, I am being paid in Trump bucks. I'm okay with this. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Oh wait, he used his
reimbursement.
Stimulus.
Yes, he used his stimulus to stimulate my economy.
Wow, he got it really early.
I mean, I already have it.
Huh.
If you have direct deposit, you get it earlier. Oh, okay. You didn't get it yet?
I have no idea. I haven't checked my bank account in 3 days.
Yeah, no, people at my work have been getting it, but we all have direct deposit. We're not fucking dumb. I don't know why people don't have direct deposit for their job. It's just sensible to do that. I don't know why people still accept checks as a form of payment for their job. That's just so fucking...
Yeah.
I can't comprehend it.
Yeah, I ain't got mine yet, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, some people aren't going to get it for like 5 months.
Oh yeah, no. If you have direct deposit, you should be seeing it within the next couple days to a few weeks. If you don't have direct deposit, good fucking luck. The current estimated date is August 20th.
Oof.
Yeah. It might also be that I filed my taxes late February last year. I mean, I just filed my taxes yesterday, so...
Yeah, they would have used your 2018 taxes then instead of your 2019. So
No, they said they were going to be using 2018, regardless.
no, for people who did it before, I think March, they said they'd be using 2019 taxes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, a funny story about my income. Um, because in 2018 I was paying off student loans, and in 2019 I lost massive amounts of money on the stock market. I was actually below the taxable income each year. I made less money technically than was taxable, so
Okay then.
I got my full federal withholding back. Sneaky, did you see my idea in shit quotes? No, I have shit quotes muted. Ruby, but Yang is replaced with Andrew Yang. I mean, all I'm saying, dude, is a Ruby coma theory. The entirety of the current Ruby series is actually just Ruby in a coma, and she wakes up to find out that Yang was never her sister. Blake was a international terrorist that was eventually killed, and Weiss never went to Beacon. She was just famous for singing on the TV that was playing while she was in a coma. I like how you were talking about slavery for a solid minute before noticing the sub bomb. Look, I'm a very unattentive person if you haven't noticed this yet. Anyway, so slave labor, blah blah blah. Slave labor, raw deal, blah 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 blah, well treated, blah blah blah. Reminding me, meanwhile, the peaceful group, political battlefield. Blah 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 blah. High grades priority is the immediate well-being. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah. Twinkie was sitting in the same stool as last time and allowed herself to become so filthy she was not distinguishable from the smoke-blackened brick behind her. Her clothes were ragged and unwashed. She was clutching a bottle of beer and swaying in her stool, staring into the fire. Winky is depressed, hitting the bottle, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, cites the shame imposed on Winky by her culture, separation anxiety, blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Even long term, is bad. Okay, so it appears that I was ill-informed. I apologize. House elves apparently don't die, but apparently house elves do fall in depression, and they're basically ostracized by other house elves if they do not have a master.
I wonder if that was your brain making it up or another like piece of fan fiction lore that you decided
I
to
believe that was
keep.
a little bit of both. Yes.
You do that far too much.
Yeah, it's yeah, too much. Chinese activism is a yeah. So I am unhappy that J.K. Rowling just slapped slavery into a story and then never went anywhere with it. Yep. Cool story. Thank you. Let's see here. Moving to the other end of my flat, I couldn't help but grin as I opened a room of bookcases waiting to be filled. Honestly, I think if I had magic, I would. Also, if I had money, this is something I'd also do if I had money. I mean, I'm not talking like super potatoes money. I'm talking like won the lottery money. I would most definitely build a very simple looking house with as many secret passages and hidden pathways as possible. Like, you know, shit like behind the bookcase and like an entire study room just behind a bookcase that has other secret passages leading to like the kitchen and shit.
Any particular reason?
I just love secret passages.
It's like 40 years after your death, your house is like the local haunted mansion. It's like I heard old man Sneaky hid treasure in one of the many hidden passages.
Mm-hmm.
I
No
heard
one
he
can
was
find
the
half of them.
I heard he hoarded gold coins. And then they find the coins and it's just like 50-year-old expired chocolate coins.
That'd be a bitch to clean. Yeah, it would be. Which is why I would do it when I'm really rich, so I could then hire and then kill every maid that comes to clean it.
Could I suggest an alternative?
Okay, I'm listening.
Why not just make it so that the secret passages have hermetic seals on the doors,
Mm-hmm.
so that dust physically can't gather in them?
Alright, I like the way you think.
Like, you'd only have to clean them like once every 6 months because of how often you use them personally, just to get a giggle.
True. True. I would also fund research to make robot maids. Exactly. No, what? No, no, even better. I got one better. Fund Tesla making cat girls. Then I can get a cat girl made and won't have to worry about her ever squealing on me. Brilliant. Cat girl maids are infinitely superior to robot maids.
It's no reason you can't have a cat girl robo maid.
Yeah, but robots are just instantly inferior to cat girls, and you lose the cat girl aspect if they're a robot. I mean, yeah, it looks like a cat girl, but it's not actually a cat girl, it's just a robot. Something tells me cat girls in real life would be terrifying abominations. No, Super Potatoes, you gotta look at it from the anime perspective. No, Pedro, the Roomba army is a complete self-defense initiative. I'm going to arm them all with Russian anti-tank mines and Glock 18s. Yes, the Claymore Roomba and the Russian anti-tank mine Roomba. I have seen both videos yet. They're very good. Anyway. Tapping my wand, I put all my books away. And I love books, because books are great. Blah, 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 books. Blah, 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 property. Blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. It's all Muggle shit that looks very. It's all wizards that own Muggle-looking shit. So basically, to his right is a place that sells telescopes and weighing scales, and to his left is a cafe that uses hovering bushes, and they sell hot, warm buns. Somehow they cover up the hovering bushes. Also, the bushes are apparently maids, which is weird. Number 14, blah blah blah, modest shop, blah blah, pulling the deed, blah blah blah. Certifying that Poe Stevens is the owner of the slot. Cover, drop, close. Hummed, deed poked out for me. Silver key, parts the key. And I checked the place a bunch, and I blah 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I looked at the place. It had lots of stuff. It was a place that did place things, and blah, 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 blah. I went into the store room. It's a store. It's got stuff in it. It's dirty and stuff, and then I cleaned it up, and I warded it, and funny story, wards don't actually exist in Harry Potter. Wards is actually a popular used fanfiction trope.
Really?
Yes.
And you're sure about this one?
Yes.
Because we literally just went through the house elf thing.
Yes, wards are a fanfiction thing. Oh God, Sneaky, please shut up. No, that kind of... I remember Cledwin jerking off on that. Ah, yes, yes. I know a couple of authors that jerk off on the whole herder wards are just fanfiction herder such. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so blah blah staircase, misty orbs, and then I walked to the top, and blah blah. It was just right, blah blah, stuff and stuff. I'm looking around my place. I'd taken a leaf out of Hermione's book, The Deathly Hallows, and bewitched a pouch with an undetectable extension charm. And nobody ever thought of this before. Hermione actually was the only one who ever thought of this, and now Poe Stevens is the only one who ever thought of this. I've been... Fucking Stanish. Give me money. Yeah, I've seen the video already, C8. I literally fucking told you when Arn first mentioned it. I have seen the video. That is the exact reason why I said the video. I said Russian anti-tank mine specifically because of this video.
Mine dimensions.
Sorry, it's Bulgarian.
15.4.
Yeah, my bad. It's Bulgarian. But literally what I said. I don't know why you're pinging me for something I literally said. Anyway, let's get back to it. That's not a thing Hermione ever did. Moleskin pouches, blah blah blah. Pedro, you were literally here. You were literally talking to Arn as I said that. Cut that shit out. Fucking up. You know what, Max? I feel like because Atin isn't here, he should get the money. How do you feel about that?
I feel like that's intellectually dishonest of you.
Yes.
But
I'll pay him in pesos.
That's all I'm going to say
next.
on the matter.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You got to do what?
I'm going to pay him in pesos.
Oh, jeez. you learning about that currency converter on PayPal is the worst thing.
And it's free, which is the best thing ever.
That is nice that it's free, but it's still the worst thing to ever happen.
You can't even spend it.
Well, no, you can because you can move things between the wallets.
Okay.
I think. Wait, did I ever convert that properly?
No, I think you said because the yen went down, so now it was worth even less. Yeah, you're right. He is already earning money from his other podcasts. You're right. Fucking Atin is now no longer a paid member of this band.
Actually, I don't know if he gets any money off of that.
Oh, should be. He's on. He's like in the top 150 or something like that. Podcasts.
I did properly convert it, but why is there 19 yen just randomly sitting in... Why do I have 19 yen?
Yeah, have you
Just
used
randomly
pay?
sitting there.
Have you used PayPal to buy something recently?
No, I remember what it was from.
Oh.
I got a refund from one of my import websites of 19 yen because like, oh sorry, we ended up overcharging you on this pre-order price. Here you go. And it's
For
like
19 cents?
for 19 yen, which at this point is 17 cents. Which at the time was actually I think 18 cents. So it's gone down since I got the refund.
Nice.
Uh Hmm. We're gonna continue with this shitty story.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. I'm just. Yes. I was. Anyway, so not only did he take out sneakoscopes, which were never actually really described as what they did, beyond detected people if they were sneaking or some shit, which I don't even know what that qualifies as. If I swagger into your place with the intent of robbing you, does that mean I'm not sneaking as long as I make sure that no one sees me? I'm just saying. If intent is key.
I have no fucking clue.
Anyway, so he's using these sneakoscopes, and not only is he a genius wizard, he also modified them to have his own original custom charms to do shit. And secrecy sensors and shit like that. And then I sealed the door, and then I added an additional sensor. We weren't at war, but knowing what I knew it would happen. So he's basically a magical genius.
Sure, why not?
I feel like the TMs are missing from them. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Buns. Ate food. Blah blah blah. And then I washed my food, and then I washed my dishes, and then I cleaned up the shop, and then I put magic on the shop, and then I, was paranoid and checked everyone around me, and then I checked out my shop even more, and it turns out there was shit in my shop. Blah 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 blah. Previous owner, phase selling potions, magical equipment, basically a bunch of magical workbenches to make magical items with. That's never really defined in the series, but okay, whatever, author. Experimentation, well secured. I have higher standards. Blah 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 blah. I cleaned everything and I armed it with anti-tank mines. Number 14 didn't feel safe yet. When was able Diagon. It's a Diagon alley. It's diagonally. Ha 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 ha
I'll be back in a few minutes.
ha. Magical anti-tank mines. Now that is something I completely support. I don't understand what the plot of this story is. So, the plot of this story is supposed to be what's in the summary, which is, I am a self-insert into the Harry Potter universe, and I'm going to go tell Dumbledore about everything that's going to happen, so he'll take care of it for me. And so far, we are at nearly the end of the first chapter, and it's just been the author meticulously describing every facet of his home and new business that he's bought, how he's graduated from Hogwarts, and he's apparently a fucking magical genius Because not only is he able to create his own original spells that no one's ever thought of before, but he's also able to modify current industrial products that likely have anti-tamper charms on them, because otherwise, why would have no one else have ever modified them before? So, to summarize, the main character is a super magical badass with a massive amount of money and power, and his plan is to not do anything with it and instead just hide. Because that makes for an interesting story. What's likely going to happen, though, is, in all honesty, he's likely going to tell Dumbledore what's going on, then he's going to be attacked, and then he's going to somehow be drawn into the canon storyline somehow. Either as likely a defensive dark arts teacher or something else. And he's going to help Harry and Co. on their way to become heroes and save the big damn galaxy. Hogwarts. So the main character is a magical Tony Stark. Seems like it so far. Except without all the humor and snark and character and interesting tidbits. Why has no one modified them yet? Probably because people are dumb and haven't thought of it. Well, that's true, Pedro. However, consider the following. Fuck you. Blah, 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 blah. Many magical families were there. Blah, 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 blah. Heart of Muggles. Blah, blah. Wizarding families banded together to make their own Diagon Alley that isn't as awesome as Diagon Alley, but it's nearly as awesome. Terraced houses and businesses, blah, blah. Fall in love. So he just invented a completely new place to do business that apparently is not as good as Diagon Alley, but nearly as good. Blah, blah, blah. You know, he's invented a whole new fucking town. Steaming mug of stuff in hand. Blah, 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 so shoulders. Blah, blah, boring ass dialogue. Blah, blah, blah. He's got some big ass plan. Blah, 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 blah. Weird sisters. Blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Gay couple. Cool. The author made sure to include a gay couple in his first chapter, so I guess you know what? He gets a gay out of 10. Make of that what you will. Honestly, that was an exceedingly boring story. There was no hook. There was absolutely no hook. I was just utterly uninterested in the entirety of the story. Supposedly, it's about a guy going to talk to Dumbledore about all these events happening, and so far, all we got was really prosaic descriptions of this entirely new city he's created, an entirely new house he's created, a business he's created, and this guy who apparently is a self-insert, but we're really not going to focus on the fact that he's both a self-insert, isekai character, and knows the entirety of the Harry Potter stories. I give the story Are We There Yet out of 10. Fair enough. Alright, so let's get out of the Harry Potter and Worms section and get into something more interesting. Let's see here. The Infinite Paths, Fate Stay Night. We can get some Ruby going on here. Digimon Worm. No, we already did Worm.
I miss anything of importance?
How do you feel about Ruby?
kind of indifferent to it at this point. It really fell off around volume 4
Excellent. So
onwards.
D times D in Ruby. Let's go.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh boy, it's a V2.
Oh, good. It's a rewrite.
A simple mission reborn. Rewrite time. The mission was simple. Team Ruby must go to a new land known as Japan. Excuse fucking me. Excuse fucking me.
What?
You want to try that again, author? Oh yeah, you know, that hidden continent where all the infinite beasts of death roam. I completely forgot about that supercontinent.
Mysterious land. A new land known as Japan. Wait, if it's new, how do they notice them undercover as normal schoolgirls?
Because they've known about it all along. Duh.
So is it just supposed to be new to them?
I don't know. Oh,
No,
God.
no, it's completely brand new.
What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
What?
What
Wait.
the fuck is
No,
this?
what?
What?
Huh? What is?
What the fuck is this?
It's pixel art. He made his own. He made his own pixel art cover.
Team Ruby must go to a new land known as Japan and go undercover as normal schoolgirls and investigate the strange incidents occurring there. So wait, hold on a fucking second. Not only do they apparently know about Japan, they've also apparently been paying enough attention to Kuo Academy to notice angels showing up.
Oh, in this one section of Japan. This one tiny section.
Yeah. It seemed easy enough for them, but even simple missions can go awry. Okay, look, it's not a simple mission. Ruby physically is incapable of being undercover as a normal schoolgirl. Literally, no schoolgirl in existence talks about the sniper scythe that they custom built. And Ruby is physically incapable of not talking about Crescent Rose.
Yeah. Yang could probably get away with it. The other three, not so much.
Yang could get away with it until some boy hits on her back and she doesn't like it. And then she decides to go the feminist route of kicking his shit in. Weiss actually was likely the most likely to fit in just fine, because she doesn't use her power for everything. She's used to being a rich, snotty kid, and she'll fit right in with all the other rich, snotty kids at the prestigious Rich Snotty Academy.
Yeah, but depending on what point in the story this is, she's going to start talking about the SDC, and that's going to confuse a lot of people.
Yes. And then...
So if this is like pre-season 3, then...
And then honestly, I think they're just sending Blake on this mission because they want to get the terrorist out of their school. I'm just saying.
Oh, of course you're just saying. You always just say.
I do just say. It is simple saying. Unknown hero here, and welcome to a simple mission rebirth, or as I call it, ASMR. I did not think this title through, hee hee. I really don't hope I get hate for this, but I probably will anyway. You have written 2 books of this.
Oh, 200,000 words.
And 500 favorites. And 400 reviews. Holy shit.
Alright then. Okay. Sure. Why not?
Could this be the White Fang? 4 Horsemen Apocalypse memes for weapons?
Huh?
What the fuck? You could have Weiss and Rias tie Winter up and then have her explain the full circumstances in which they are reincarnated. So good, so amazing, great, wonderful, cool, awesome, absolutely amazing. Okay, can we get some reviews for chapter 1? Windsborn word. Sigh. Rias does not set people up to die like a manipulative bitch. That is actually true. She doesn't. Her brother, on the other hand,
As long as it doesn't put Rias in horrible danger, he'll do it in a heartbeat, right?
pretty much. Please read the light novels. She is much more nuanced.
There are light novels for this.
Oh, there's light novels for this. It goes on to it's like a light novel 18 right now. It's an absolute fucking shit show. Issei, the main character, gets breast telepathy. He can now telepathically talk to breasts.
Sneaky, I've been aware of this for a couple of years because you talked about it a couple of years ago, and I remember thinking that's stupid.
Yes. Oh. They weren't as advanced as Remnant. Actually, Earth and Remnant should be equal in technological advancement. Not... No. No. Not... They have fucking flying cars. Yeah, sure, they're using a potentially limited resource to fuel those cars. But so are we. Guns are basically the same between two worlds. The main difference being that ruby guns, you can use dust. Okay. That's a major difference. It's like, oh, guns are the same in these two worlds, except one of these worlds can have guns that can freeze an entire tank from small arms fire. That doesn't sound too different. Fuck you! Both also, guns is a basic projectile thing. It's like, you know, there's not too many other ways to launch a projectile. You can do it the manual way by manually doing it with your hand, or you can use a string to assist you using the action-reaction forces of pulling back on a piece of wood that's bent in a certain direction. Or you can, cause a chemical reaction to fire it. And the only two ways of launching a projectile left are using electricity. And magnetics. So it's not like them just having guns makes them on a similar technological level. They clearly have far more advanced guns than we do, because we couldn't even attempt to turn a gun into a sword scythe shotgun javelin. It just literally cannot. Our guns cannot work like that. They cannot operate like that. So clearly they are advanced in terms of firearms. Yeah, light novels are much more nuanced. Also, light novels. Opie telepathy. Yes. Yes, thank you, Pedro. Both worlds have similar vehicles, like cars. Yeah. That's because they're very logical conclusions of the same transportational technology. What else are they supposed to have, Mr. Reviewer? Not cars? I'm confused about this point here. They have cars, so clearly they're the same. No? Are you gonna say we're on the same technological level as we were when Ford first introduced the Blackmobile? Because we've advanced in cars quite a bit since then. Also, they have airships, but I mean, even though the airships look more advanced, they aren't better than planes.
Alright then.
They can hover. They're literally flying battleships. That is infinitely more effective than a plane. Like, do you know how big the guns are on a battleship? Do you know how much supplies those things can haul? They use the pillarmen to move. Yes, Pedro, thank you. It's true that Rubyverse has weapons that don't exist in our world, but the reason for that isn't because they can't be made. No, they can't be made. Mecha shift weapons are physically impossible. Yes, we have gun blades, but those are solid, unmoving instruments. And they quickly lost favor. If anything, normal weapons are more efficient because ore doesn't exist to block bullets. No, but body armor exists, and that blocks bullets.
Why are we talking about mecha shift weapons again?
Because the author is like, we can make mecha shift weapons IRL, we just choose not to, so you can't say Ruby is more advanced in weaponry.
Ruby is very much advanced that they found a way to consistently fire the equivalent of hand cannons.
Most
With
body armor
moving
only works against
barrels.
9mm. I mean, yeah, tier 3. That's the standard tier. I mean, armies deploy with, like, tier 5 shit, too, you know? Tier 4 shit, tier 5 shit. Again, armies typically do deploy with just tier 3. Tier 3 hardplate. Because tier 4 and tier 5 are more prohibitively expensive and heavier, significantly heavier. Also doesn't stop the force. Yes, I am aware it does not stop the force. I'm just saying that Aura doesn't either. As we've seen people being punted around multiple times. Scrolls are the only thing that are more advanced than what we have, but to be honest, the difference isn't that big because I think scrolls can be made IRL. Really? You think hard light projectors that can fit in your pocket and last for an indefinite amount of time
The only way
can
that
be
we'll
made
be able
IRL?
to, the only way we're going to approach what scrolls are capable of is the fact that OLED screens are finally starting to become a bit more mainstream in consumer products, like the phones that fold over themselves.
Yes. Yes.
But scrolls aren't capable of just that. They have literally been shown that scrolls are able of projection and acting as game consoles, as well as miniature computers, even more so than what our smartphones are. Like, it's going to be at least 3 decades before I think we see anything resembling a scroll on the market. And even then, that's going to be like Google Glass, where it's like you have to sign up and get into this crazy closed beta
Right.
to be allowed a chance to even touch it.
Sure, hard light Atlas machines, mechs, and other such things exist in Ruby, but since Atlas owns them, I don't think that counts as Remnant being more advanced than the world.
So,
So,
was this a
apparently, Max.
reviewer? Is this a reviewer being stupid?
Yes, this is the reviewer being retarded.
Okay.
So, apparently, according to this reviewer, If you compare us to a medieval fantasy world, we are not more advanced than them because Africa doesn't have M1 Abrams. That's their logic. Is because only one country, or only some countries, but not a majority of countries, own or have a majority of a certain technology, therefore they can't be considered more advanced. Africa has M1 Abrams? Yes, yes. Yes, I'm aware, Arn, yes. Thank you. Yes. I'm aware the warlords have them.
Okay.
So this viewer is clearly a massive brain, absolutely colossal brain.
I love that. It's not that they can't be made. It's why it's like, well, we can make a transforming weapon, so there's something for that, but we can't make a transforming weapon for projectile-based stuff that requires accuracy like sniper rifles.
Yeah, more or less.
Of course, then I suppose they could bring up the fact that there are a handful of guns that have attaché cases in which you take them apart. But, at that point, you remind them, yeah, but you screw the barrel on. It doesn't flip into place.
I was thinking more like peacekeeping forces. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the another thing I never got with Ruby weapons, where like the barrel flips out or flips on and shit, and it's just like, oh my
You know what?
god, I just
Honestly, of the weapons we see, I love the simplicity of Weiss's rapier. It's literally, what if I just stick a magnum onto a rapier with a rotating cylinder?
well, it's not even
And
what if I stick a magnum on the rapier. It's literally just using a magnum's revolver chamber as a inspirational idea to store dust for her to use.
yeah, and then I actually really like Crow's weapon. I'm not a fan of the scythe transformation, but it's my favorite version of I attached a gun to my sword. Okay, well, how do you access it? Sword's blade flips down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I
simple.
the whole scythe into sword thing doesn't make a lot of sense, and I actually kind of hate it because it really degrades the structural integrity of the sword. And scythes are just
Yeah.
they're not practical weapons. You know,
No, they're they're not. Which Monty's defense, Osmond did point out that's a really dangerous weapon to be using because it's not normal. That's not a good choice. Like there's the implication that he has seen very few, even in his long life, of
yeah.
people dumb enough to use scythes in battle.
Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Making lots of decisions. Alright, I took down the first one. I'm trying to rewrite this one. Edit the chapters. This will contain blood, gore, and death. Although I admit I haven't really gotten into DxD ever. I have read a lot of fan fiction, so I'm confident I can write my own DxD crossover.
Oh no.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh no. Were size typically used by peasants because they didn't have access to anything better? No, in fact, the scythes used by peasants are actually called war scythes, which look similar to glaives. Let me bring that up. So this is a peasant scythe. This is it's more of a sickle. It's used
Yeah,
to cut wheat.
it's also
Um,
one-handed.
Here is the larger two-handed variant, where they would swing it with two hands by gripping onto each of those handles there, and they would start at one end and like swing it on a pivot. It was actually surprisingly very effective for harvesting wheat. But war scythe that is mentioned in stories, if it's ever mentioned, is actually significantly different than a normal scythe. As you can see, it's more of a crescent moon shape, if anything. Usually it's kind of just like a curved piece of metal.
That's much closer to like a spear.
Yeah,
than
in
anything else.
actuality, in terms of Europe at least, peasants, the levies as they were called, were more often than not just given spears, which could range from sharpened sticks to actual, spears with metal pointy bits on the end.
Oh my god, we're talking about this again because you're reading Ruby again, even though you know that makes you angry.
Oh yes, it's even better because this is a Ruby DxD story in which the author actually hasn't seen too much DxD. They just read a lot of fan fiction for it, and it's simultaneously taking place in Japan, and Team Ruby is being sent to investigate the angels there.
What?
Yes! Congratulations! You're caught up. Also, according to one of the reviewers, Remnant's not more advanced than Earth because reasons and stuff. And you can't consider one civilization more advanced than another if their lowest denominator is not more advanced than the highest denominator of the other civilization.
So because some people on Remnant still kill things with bows and arrows.
In this specific example, the example given was because Atlas has war droids and no one else does, therefore Remnant's not more advanced than Earth.
But that is how you say stupid.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so as I was saying, so levies are typically given spears because spears are really easy to learn. Pointy end goes towards the person you want to kill.
Well, not only that, they don't even have to. It's entirely possible for them to kill things by just holding the line.
Yeah, yes, that's also the part where they do is just stand in a line and hold the spears out, and they would be able to kill people just doing that because they would charge at each other. Yeah. So that's the difference between a war scythe and a scythe.
Wait, what do you mean? Ah, yeah.
Where a war scythe looks like this, meanwhile, a farming implement looks like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, and not only that, despite what Dark Souls would have led you to believe, a scythe is not a dex weapon.
No, it's very much a strength weapon.
Like, it's not. It's not. It's definitely not. Do you know how hard you have to work to fucking kill someone with a scythe?
I mean,
No, Pedro, Arn isn't back. This is Atin.
yes, Arn's back.
I'm not nearly as racist.
But you didn't deny being racist.
I'm sure there's some part of me that's racist. I'm not going to like pretend that there isn't somewhere. It's mostly Dota's fault.
Probably, yeah, that's fair. Dota has definitely made me more racist than I previously was. Anyway, so, I am purely going off the manga as I write this, as well as referring to the wiki. This is out of pure self-satisfaction for people who actually like the story, and me. That means I will continue this if I want to stay positive in terms of favorites and follows, and if you keep favoriting and following me, I'll keep updating it.
I love how these pathetic idiots think they can like hold us hostage with their garbage story.
If you don't keep favoriting my story, I'll stop writing it. Oh no. Please. Don't do that.
No, please.
Who the fuck is that?
Don't think that was my end.
That was from a room next to me. That wasn't even my room.
Atin, you're haunted.
No, I'm not.
Atin's haunted. Ozpin took a sip of his coffee as he waited for Team Ruby's report. He sent them on a mission weeks ago, a few days after the breach of Vale. Yeah. Okay, so a few days after their massively PTSD-inducing mission in which they had to both slaughter people, watch them be torn apart by Grimm, and then ride a train into the center of the town they're trying to protect as it explodes. And you sent them right back into the fight. Good job, Ozpin.
Look, it's not Ozpin's fault that they're the A-team. He just, he's weighing the exhaustion penalties versus actually getting to send the A-team.
Of course, a few of them complained. So more than 2 complained. So the whole team complained. Oh yeah, also Super Potatoes did in fact gift us the 100 subs.
We don't have that many people.
No, we have 131 followers, so we do in fact have that many people.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe it'll lure some people back. Who knows?
Potatoes. That's
He's a madman.
a lot of money.
Yeah, we've given him a special, unique role called Kulak on our Discord.
I see. I mean, they certainly deserve it. That's
Yes, I know. We've already been over that.
I think Potatoes may be a drug dealer.
It's possible. They were still tired from the Oh yeah, you called it the exhaustion minus. They were still tired from their previous mission with Professor Ooblik, but he informed them that this was a mission they simply can't refuse. No, they are in fact not part of your military, and they can in fact refuse this mission.
Your mission,
yeah.
should you choose to accept it? Nope. What? What do you mean no? I mean no, I'm taking a nap.
What part of no did you not get?
Actually, first years aren't supposed to go on missions except for that one round.
Yes, I'm aware. Yes. A new series of continents had just been discovered.
I will give him some credit. That's some alright pitch.
I am sorry. Excuse me, fucking what? Okay, hold on. You see, the Schnee Dust Company was transporting dust to Atlas and stumbled upon continents just randomly in the middle of the sea after making a wrong turn. How do you make a wrong turn in the middle of the sea? It's literally going a straight fucking line.
Oh boy.
Okay, Sneaky, you say that, but Columbus did in fact manage that.
Okay, Columbus managed it because he thought that he could just sail straight to India because he didn't know there was a landmass in the way.
Yes, but he ended up in the Caribbean. I'm just saying, you can in fact get blown off course. That's a thing.
You cannot travel from India. You cannot travel from Spain and plot a course to India and get blown off course into the Caribbean. That is not how that works at all. There was literally a landmass in the way. It did not jump out in front of him.
He got to the Caribbean first.
Yes.
And then he made it to America.
Yes.
Again, it is entirely
possible. But he wasn't aiming for either of those. The tree did not jump into his path.
Yes, it did.
He turned off the road and said, "Hold on, I think this is a shortcut."
Either it's a shortcut or we're all gonna die.
Yeah, he went straight west. Yeah. Anyway, so the crew just accidentally... Okay, I'm going to bring up the Remnant map, by the way, so you all can see this. Also, SDC to Atlas. They're in Atlas.
Okay, I mean, would it really surprise you if the SDC had, like, some kind of offshore floating headquarters of Doom?
Maybe.
In fact, I'm pretty sure that's where the next season's going. Which I'm totally down for, by the way. Like, listen, if you're gonna make the SDC evil, go ham. Make it so that
Yeah.
Jacques Schnee is running the Remnant Illuminati.
So you're mining here, and you're probably going to travel through this strait here, because remember, this landmass is here, and this landmass is controlled by Vale. And this water is probably more patrolled than that water, which makes it safer to go through this water than that water. So you're probably, if you're traveling from here, you're going to travel from here and go up through here and straight to there. If you're traveling from Vale, you're likely going to transport your materials all the way over here or here and travel to there. If you're in here, you're probably going to transport your materials either up here, over land, and then from here to here, or over here to here. At no point in time can you be fucking blown off course traveling to Atlas.
Yes, I will grant you this on that particular map.
So what they're saying here is that in the travel, right in this sea area, traveling to Atlas, they somehow took the left at Albuquerque and went this way, and Japan is over here, and no one ever noticed.
My favorite part about it is that at this point they've had flying vehicles for a while, like long distance
Yeah,
flight.
but it makes sense though to not use long distance flight to transport large freight, because
No, I'm saying not knowing about it.
Oh yeah, that. I really feel like Atlas is the sort of people that would just send out exploration missions to map out literally the entire world just in case.
Listen, the Grimm could be on this continent, or they could be on this continent, but we won't know for sure.
You never know where the French might pop up.
I mean, look, it's like when you're playing Civ and you thought you finally eliminated those pesky Greeks, and then they show up on an island in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, and then you have to pay Israel to go fight them.
I didn't pay Israel to fight them. You know who I paid to fight them?
I paid Israel. Right,
I
Max?
paid the Huns.
I paid you a lot of money to go fight people, right?
No, you paid me after declaring war and forgetting that I was in the middle of those people.
I didn't know they were an alliance.
So what I'm hearing is you got Max sandwiched between two men and then paid him as an
Oh,
apology.
no, 3 women. He somehow managed to get, like, the only 3 female civs all surrounding him.
Why were
And then
you
my
paying
two-
him?
Then my two dumbass
Because he
teammates
was on another
declared-
continent, and we were on a continent. Me and Trevor were on a continent. And we were the only 2 on this continent, and we were all, since we were on the same team, it was us versus the AI.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, guys, I found the other civs. Oh, I'm like right in between. I'm perfectly in the middle of all of them. That's
So
weird.
us being absolute dumbasses, they tried to settle on our continent, so we declared war and crushed that city. And then Max is like, what did you guys do? They're attacking me now. We're like, oh.
Max!
And so then we paid him shit tons of gold because we were making gold hand over fist to go fight them. And he's like, guys, I literally can't produce enough troops to fight them.
I mean,
Worst
yeah, that's it.
teammates ever.
No, Matt, probably the worst thing that Sneaky ever did to me was in our Warhammer campaign. I was the Empire, he was the Elves, and he just... I think it was the first 100 turns where you did fuck all.
Yeah, before they fixed the elves. Yeah.
Yes. I'm aware that it was part of it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, so way back in the day, before they fixed the elves' diplomacy fuck-ups, the elves had all instantly declared war on me. And so I had to fight against 3 wood elf armies with my one single city that could only maintain 1 army. And so Ad's like, Sneaky, when are you gonna help me? I'm just like, I'm fucking busy.
Because bear in mind, at this point, I'm dealing with the orcs, the vampires, and because I was working with the wood elves, the dwarves hated me.
Yeah, also, the dwarves hated me. They were attacking. The wood elves were attacking. The Skaven was attacking. The fucking war band, the Beastmen war bands were attacking. Pavron declared war on me because I was weak. And it's just like, oh my god.
And for some reason, they're all like, well, we could go beat up the guy we actually hate, or we could go punch the Empire in the teeth. I was like, why?
Yeah. And so At's holding them all off, and he's giving me cast injections constantly, and I finally conquer the elves. And then I proceed to go on an absolute murder spree and wipe out like half the continent.
And then the Empire was actually allowed to develop its technology and was effective.
Yeah.
Although, by the way, if anyone tells you that the Empire infantry can't cut it late game, they're lying to you. It absolutely can. You just have to be willing to let all of them die while the mortars shell the enemy.
You just have to use suicide tactics. It's simple.
No, it's not suicide. The mortars don't shoot at your guys.
Anyway, so they just accidentally made a wrong turn in a straight line, and they thought they made it into Atlas, and then they started just offloading cargo.
Oh my god!
Wait,
can you imagine someone
hold
expecting to go to Atlas and ending up in Weebland?
Hold the fuck up. Okay, so you're on a ship and you're sailing your ship. You're a freight ship, and you pull into this port. So apparently, no point ever did you contact the dock authorities before you just pulled into an offloading freight area. Okay.
You didn't notice that instead of the vaguely Germanic peoples, not that you know that they're vaguely Germanic, but still, you've got a bunch of very dark-skinned individuals with a very different complexion.
Wait, hold the fuck up. Okay. So somehow they took a left at Albuquerque and ended up in Perth, Australia.
Yes. Sneaky, you're also forgetting the other most important thing here, which is, can you imagine someone expecting to land in Atlas and ending up in downtown Shibuya?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Boy, Atlas sure has changed completely from everything we ever expected.
Yeah, like, so you don't contact the dock authorities at all. You don't contact, like, anyone at all. And then without contacting the dock authorities, now you've pulled up to the harbor, you've parked your giant fucking ship in the freight offloading zone, and have just started offloading your freight without even checking in with anyone about where they wanted it.
Oh, and by the way, I know that like people joke about Japan not being like, you know, this big military power. They have a coast guard.
They do.
They have a coast guard who'd be going, unidentified ship you're trying to dock. Tell us who you are or we'll board you.
Literally, we're gonna start firing on you in 2 seconds.
Who are you? And then when the radio hails inevitably got ignored because I'm sure they're using non-standard frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Boom goes the gun. And they just didn't ask any questions.
No, Super Potatoes, it's even worse than that. It would be like if a cargo freighter left Britain and was heading towards America, like New York or something, right? And just ended up in China somehow and just started offloading all of their freight in China.
And went, this place looks kind of different.
Wow, New York really has changed in the past 3 years we haven't been here.
3 years? Try like 6 months, dude.
I don't know, they might have been sent on rotation to Africa or something.
I mean, okay, possible, but still.
They were interrupted. So apparently, some dock workers just came up to them and were like, who the fuck are you guys? And you're interrupting our coal transportation to all of these other countries, like literally the rest of the countries on Earth. And then they noticed the lack of faunus. Oh, that's that's what tips you off that you're not on Remnant, is the lack of faunus manual labor. Wow, you really know these people are from Atlas.
Hey, where are your not slaves?
Where is your not slaves? Why aren't they doing the manual labor?
Hey, how come you don't have one particular racial group doing all the hard work? American dock workers.
Ah, the Irish are home today, you know? Anyway,
Now there's a history joke.
yeah, I know, right? Anyway, when they realized that this was a new world, they left and reported their findings. A new world! Ah, yes. You know, with all those technological advancements like planes and shit that, you know, we have, and how we multiple times circled the whole globe and made dick measuring contests about how fast we could do it. We've never noticed Remnant or its unending monsters of death before.
Here's the thing, I like to imagine that every government in the world just tacitly agreed to ignore it.
Ah, yes, that's the Remnant Triangle. We don't go there. That's where the bad things are.
That's where the flesh-eating monsters are, kids. We don't go there.
They took a wrong turn and ended up in a different planet. Yeah. I knew we shouldn't have taken the Bermuda Triangle shortcut. Now we don't even know what language these people are speaking.
Omae wa no shinderu. Oh, god damn it!
Damn these aliens!
Yes, my universal translator works, but it translates everything into a useless dead language. Oh, that was one of my favorite jokes from that show. Mostly just because of how angry it made French people.
I got
like,
that
they
reference.
legit got super salty about that.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Well, it is a
My
useless
favorite part,
dead language.
Also, supposedly, I don't know if this part's true or not, but supposedly when that thing aired in French, they didn't change it at all.
Thank you. Oh, anyway, so apparently, what tipped them off that this was a new world was the fact that there weren't any faunus manual labor. News sped quickly, and spies, researchers, and huntsmen were sent out to find the natives of the continent called Earth.
And do what?
The continent called Earth. Oh, okay, so I guess Earth is a super Pangea that was never before discovered. Also, Aura doesn't exist here. And had only humans and no Grim.
Hey, they don't have any walled cities.
Also, apparently Japan is still an island in this.
So it's not a super Pangea then.
Nope. It was a land called Japan.
I really, really want to know how you're going to end up taking a left turn into another world. Like, you know what? You know what, Sneaky? Let's write that. I took a left turn to another world.
Is it gonna be an isekai story?
Oh, absolutely.
Every time they take a left turn, they end up in a new world.
No, but there's like a cooldown if the world sucks.
Only if the world sucks, okay.
Like, you take a left turn into 40k, you gotta wait.
Oh no, there it is. No, here's the restriction. When you take a left turn, you have to be thinking about not wanting to leave.
Congratulations, you'll never get to leave 40k. I want to go home. I want to go home. Opens a left-hand door. Inquisitor stares in consternation. Can you just imagine just running down the hall of an inquisitorial facility, just smashing open every left-hand door? I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home.
Sir, this man just randomly appeared. He must be some sort of psyker. Shoot him!
That's my favorite part, is that people who really write 40k stories understand that you have to come up with a way for the Inquisition to not shoot them.
Yeah. Yeah. The reports, to say the least, were very outlandish, with very few reports matching situations. One report had aliens being involved, and a very awkward young man would become king. Oh my fucking.
I'll be back in a moment.
Panchimuyo reference. Oh, wow. We're just gonna. Ancient card games. Oh, wow.
Is it Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, it was Yu-Gi-Oh. And so they sent Team Ruby to Japan to detect to see if what these reports were true or not.
Okay, look. I just want to point out, Remnant doesn't not have, like, books
Anime.
and entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, they have TV shows, guys.
Yeah, I know. Alright, so Team Ruby sent the report in. Is this really Team Ruby's report? How did Team Ruby die? A few weeks earlier.
I gotta say, the
Blah,
report should
blah.
have been, your spies are stupid, they're just watching cartoons, guys.
I really think the report should have been, fuck you, Ozpin, we all died, signed Ruby Rose, I quit, eat shit, you immortal son of a bitch. Particular set of girls, blah blah blah, Team Ruby, blah blah, strange things, blah blah, blah 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 blah. Team Ruby, time to go. Ruby, people are staring at us. Weiss goes, I give it 3 days before a cover is blown. She sighed
3
as...
days? You have a cat person.
No, even better. Even better. Weiss thought as she sighed at the flurry of rose petals that Ruby emitted because she ran away fast. Also, apparently they all speak Japanese.
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh, thanks to the translator necklace that they were all wearing.
Of course, the standard issue Remnant
Translator necklace, yeah. Because they... Would they even have any knowledge of translation? Because, like, they all speak the same language and have been doing so for thousands of years, apparently. So would translation even be like a field of study?
Probably not.
Just imagine if the translator's necklace made you speak the wrong language. That'd be great. Only speaking German. Weiss, you're speaking German again. You know what? I think it's okay like this.
You know what? We'll leave it. We'll leave it.
What's with that chick with the black hair? She reminds me of a cat.
Okay, what? No. This person doesn't even understand Japan.
I can feel the soul leaving my body. Settle down and let them introduce people. Hello,
Like,
I'm Ruby Rose. I have a dog named Zway, and I'm
if
old.
anything, Yang would be getting the looks because she's the blonde.
She's the blonde, tanned woman with makeup and purple eyes.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, they all look like a bunch of freaking cosplayers anyway, so I doubt they'd get too many looks.
I mean, they're all wearing Kuo uniforms.
Why are they wearing those?
Because they're supposed to blend in with Kuo students by being Kuo students.
Okay, are we finally in the story?
We're nearing the end.
Technically.
Anyway, so blah 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 pervert guy. Blah blah shield your breasts pervert. Blah blah boobs, blah blah boobs, blah blah. Blah 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 boring shit, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. The devils know about Ruby. Blah blah.
Why?
Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Oh my god, they know about the fallen angels. We need to investigate them. Blah blah blah. Make sure they have flyers before they die because they're going to get themselves killed. That way we'll be able to resurrect them. Cool story, Rias.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Rias just committed another murder.
Also, I love that the author thinks that Rias in pre-Issei, like before the story of DxD even starts, he thinks that Rias is somehow stronger than Ruby or Yang.
Or Weiss.
I mean, maybe Weiss. She is kind of a pushover at the start.
Yes, but she's also a caster.
True, true.
Yeah, but this also appears to be Team Ruby just after the Mount Glen incident, so...
Still, Ruby and Yang are still stronger than Rias, easily.
True that.
And you can't resurrect people stronger than you. That's...
Oh my god, can you imagine? Puts peace on Ruby, doesn't work. Puts peace on Yang, doesn't work. Puts peace on Weiss, works immediately.
It's just a single pawn. Yeah, my strongest pieces wouldn't resurrect Ruby. Oh, how many pieces did I take? A pawn.
Wait, Blake's here too. What did she take? She took a rook. But why? I'm way more useful than she is. Yeah, I'm curious about that one too, actually.
Yeah, they all look at Blake. I've killed people.
I used to be a terrorist.
I used to be a terrorist. It comes with the job description. Alright. Well, I guess we can either close it up here or leave it up to questions if anyone has any.
You don't have any. None of you have questions. We're all going home now.
I'm gonna put the timer up. Y'all got 20 seconds to figure something out, or we're closing.
You have 20 seconds before I close the register and go home for the night.
Sir, you literally have 20 seconds left. You either can get the fuck out or buy something. How many boxes of cheese does it take to conquer Spain? I would assume at least 7.
7?
7.
7? Come
7.
on.
He never specified how big the boxes were.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, theoretically, then you would really only need one.
You couldn't transport one box of cheese as large as Spain, Max.
You underestimate how small Spain is once the cat
I don't know if we build this box in orbit over Spain and then just give it a light
cheese
push,
box.
just give it a light push.
We accidentally miss and crush Italy.
Behold, mankind's greatest weapon, the orbital Cheez-It.
Okay, so Pedro is asking a real question.
Okay.
How do you objectively differ good and bad world building?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well,
That's great.
Okay. It's always fun when people use an actual word there.
I think to start off, a good way to differ between the two is where you're putting it. Is where you're putting the world building. If you're starting your story off with a shit ton of world building and a lot of information dump, unless that world building is particularly interesting.
I don't think that's what he's asking. He's asking what's the difference between good and bad world building. Like, What's
Well,
good
that's what I'm
world
saying.
building versus bad?
Bad world building is when you place it wrong. Like, it could be the best world building ever in terms of the lore, but if you're putting it in the wrong locations, that's breaking up pacing and whatnot, people are going to lose interest.
Yeah, but even that will come down to subjective tastes. A lot
That's
of
true, I
times.
suppose. That's true.
So it comes down.
So objectively, bad world building then. So it wouldn't deal with pacing then. It wouldn't deal with placement. Um, inconsistent world building then. Would you guys agree
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, like let's say you set the very hard rule of this world's gravity is equal to Earth's exactly.
And then you
And
say make your people have a battle in midair as they hop from rock to rock, and make them clash in midair and just stop falling.
and these people are not superhuman. Like
Yes.
they are normal humans. Like everything in this world is equivalent to Earth. They have the same gravity. Humans are built the exact same way as we are, and they're doing that. That's inconsistent. It makes for
Right.
a fun fight scene at that, but at that point you're abusing rule of cool instead of going the anime route of, oh no, these people are superhuman compared to
Right.
everyone else.
Right.
Well, no, but we also need to point out some of the stuff that makes good world building. One of the most important things, and I cannot stress this one enough, be logically consistent with your world. One of the things that's annoying as hell about Ruby is the Grimm are these kinds of demon monsters that feed off negative emotion.
That also infinitely spawn.
But so mankind live right. Let me put it this way: the lore of, say, Attack on Titan makes a ton of sense. Why does humanity live in a bunch of tiered walled cities? Because there are giant flesh-eating monsters whose sole purpose seems to be to exist to eat people.
Right.
Yeah, and it should be noted, Attack on Titan also makes use of an interesting writer's trope that technically spoils it if we talk about it, but
I mean, everyone's
it's
seen
one
it
other
by
thing.
this point, so.
Well, yeah, but it's consistent within that, and then we get to see a fantastic use of unreliable narrator.
Right, exactly. Unreliable narrator
Yes.
is actually a great way to build the world because you get to build the world according to the hero's view, and then you can then later on reveal that the hero had it wrong all along, and you can seamlessly transition more world building into the story without it seeming like you're forcing it.
Yeah. But also, quietly putting in things in the background. Info dumping's bad, right? Info dumping's really bad.
Now,
It
another thing
depends
that I
on
actually have
how
to
it's
comment.
done.
J.K. Rowling actually did this pretty well. Surprisingly, when she first introduced Diagon Alley, she didn't describe like every single shop. She was just like, wizards bustled back and forth between shops, selling fantastical wares. One shop had owls in the window, and the other one had cauldrons, and this one was a musty shop with a wand on it. Like, she didn't go into like the exacting detail. She went into the kind of detail a kid would when he's looking around and everything. Oh, like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool, and there's people everywhere. That's good world building. Because it gives you the idea of what's going on from both the character's perspective, but also in a general perspective that you can extrapolate from that. It's like the only time I'll ever fucking compliment J.K. Rowling. Other than that, bad world building, inconsistencies, we've gone over that. Bad world building, superfluous. Superfluous, there we go, thank you. Additions to your story. Say, for example, you add a magic system in, but you don't actually ever use it. It's rarely mentioned, but you do a whole info dump on it at some point.
Yeah.
And then like randomly out of nowhere, right at last second, as the hero's losing, he suddenly casts magic and wins the fight.
Yeah, the wrong way to use Chekhov's gun, as it were.
Yeah. That's just bad world building because you need to get the audience familiar with certain aspects of your world. The unreliable narrator is again useful in some aspects of this, where the character could see something or say something at some point in time and not notice what that was or what that might have set off. Like, maybe they said to them an innocuous comment, but what they didn't notice when they looked away was these two people looking at each other and then wandering off of the scene because they were going to go tell their boss this, and then he was going to send people there, and then they fought the hero, and a series of events due to all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, think logically about what might set people in your world off. What might they use as curse words if you're going to change your curse words, etc.
Yeah, what religion is, and you don't have to go super deep into it unless you really want to, like Gray likes to. But general things like what's considered a curse word. For example, bastard's a curse word because it's insulting heritage. It's insulting the parent, and it's putting you as worthless due to your parents' action. Bitch is the same way. You're also calling them, unmasculine, which is a insult derived from our culture as well. General orifices that are usually used to dispose of waste. That sort of thing. Those are insults considered in our culture. While, an example, Australia, cunt is not an insult. It's a greeting. Because the culture is different.
Much, much different, it must be said.
So you have to figure out not only what the curse words are in X culture, but also why are they in that culture. And more often than not, your notes are going to be significantly more packed with information than what's ever going to go into the book. You're almost never going to have to explain a curse word in your book. You should just be using that curse word in a way that the audience understands that not only is it a curse word, but why it might be used in that scenario. And that just comes down to just your ability to write dialogue and interactions. That's not world building anymore. Religions, another thing. Is there some sort of religion? Is it ancestor worship? Is it singular god worship? Is it multi-god worship? What kind of impacts would that have on society? Such as, would there be sects where there's different sects of competing gods? Is there a singular god that everyone worships mainly, but you have the little tiny sects that say, it should be this way?
And is there a reason for that? Right? One of the things that people don't understand about things like D&D and stuff like that, you get people who are like, yeah, I'm going to be an atheist in D&D. It's like, you can't.
Yeah, you literally can't. I deny your existence. Well, they deny yours.
Agnostic?
No, you can't even be agnostic because you have proof that gods exist in
Oh,
D&D.
yeah, you can't even be agnostic.
You can be a non-follower of any religion. Yeah. You can just not follow a religion. But
and lots of people in D&D do that.
Yeah. But most you don't want to get into a non-belief war with a god because their non-belief in you might actually delete you.
Well, and more importantly, you can't go, God doesn't exist, when you can see a man go, hey, you see that dude who's got his guts hanging out? In the name of Pelor,
you're
cure
healed.
Serious wounds.
Yeah. So that's a thing. That's another good example where in D&D you can't have atheists because you can't literally not believe in gods if there's people running around only capable of having powers through their faith in the god that they serve. Other things like economy. So Tanya would be fucked in the D&D verse? No, Tanya's not an atheist. Anymore, I guess you could say. She just becomes a non-follower. She's antagonistic towards being X, she doesn't believe being X is a god. Mostly due to his manipulative nature and non-proof of miracles.
However, she does believe that he possesses
a lot of power,
extraordinary powers.
Yes.
Right? She doesn't deny that on some level this is a being with godlike powers.
Yeah, of indescribable, immense power. Yes.
In fact, I believe there's even a point in the books where she basically says something along the lines, even if I don't think he's a god, I have to acknowledge that he has sufficient power to be one.
Yes, basically. And the only reason why she denies his godhood is specifically because of the scenario he engineered when he introduced himself to her.
Well, and to be fair, well, at the time it was had many of the same questions that are quite common for a number of religions.
Right.
I.e., if there is a god, why does he allow suffering?
Right.
And in this case, they chose to make it, he thinks people aren't holy enough.
Right. Beyond that, basic economy is another thing you kind of have to think about. And again, this is not stuff you have to ever even show up in your story. But you have to generally think of, how does this shit work? Like in Aragon, for example, this actually played a part in Aragon, where all of the farming villages were being slaughtered by Urgals, and over time in the story of Aragon, more and more starvation started occurring throughout the cities, towns, and various countries, because all the farming villages were slowly being wiped out. And so the food supply was starting to get cut off. And you don't have to make it ever part of your story, but you just have to think, generally, how does this work? RWBY is, again, another great example because they don't do any of that. RWBY, an example, is just like, oh yeah, towns exist, and the mega cities exist. How does food get to them? We don't know. Apparently, also, towns constantly get wiped out completely, and just every single month, another town is gone. But also, apparently,
people keep going out there anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you know, there's plenty of people that do that here still, you know. RWBY just has food replicators, yeah, but like that's the only thing you can really assume at that point, because there is nothing about food. There's nothing about resources. Like the only resource they've focused on in RWBY is dust. There's nothing about metal transportation. There's nothing about alloys. There's nothing about food. There's nothing about any of that other technology that's actually important to the RWBY characters themselves and the logistics of an empire. They're just like, oh yeah, mega city, bunch of small villages, but those get wiped out constantly. Tee-hee. Magic, dust, science, sprinkle, sprinkle.
Like, one of the reasons... Now, while Voyager certainly had its problems, one of the reasons that Voyager was able to work the way it was because, right, there was a lot of extra survival stuff that they went, no, because of our technology, we don't have to focus on this aspect, right?
Right.
We never had to have an episode where, oh my god, the whatever the fuck it was... Enterprise, whatever, is running out of food.
Right.
We have replicators.
Food. Yeah.
As long as our replicators work, we can't run out of food.
Right. And the replicators were working off the engine, and if you're in a spaceship, as long as the engine's running, you're alive. If the engine ain't running, you're probably dead, so it doesn't matter if your food replicator ain't working no more.
Oh no, I can't get my Earl Grey. Okay, that's great, Captain, but I can't get oxygen either.
But we can't get oxygen either. Yeah, pretty much. Other stuff like that, world building wise. Again, a lot of the world building is honestly going to be taking place in your notes. It's going to be used as more of a reference material for you than rather for the reader.
It's also important to integrate. It's also the most important thing is to build your world, work through it logically and consistently, and integrate that into your world. The audience doesn't need to know how much time you spent figuring out an economy. If you did,
yeah. And it doesn't need to be super deep either. It can literally just be, okay, it's going to be a free market in this town, and there's going to be some corruption because of that. But so there's going to be a criminal element. Oh, I can have my starting group fight those criminal elements. And there's going to be food transport from these towns to this city, and that maybe that can be a plot point later on where caravans being attacked by bandits or grimmers, or insert monster here or some shit, and and then that's how you can show that the food is being transported, because then you can have an episode where your band of heroes is going out to protect these caravans or save a caravan or investigate the death or disappearance of a caravan. So then you can just slip the world building into the general narrative without being overly focused on it. Like, you want to be like, this is how the food is made. You can be like, oh yeah, they're investigating a food caravan, and it's, very important that these things remain undisturbed to transport all the food into the location of the city. It's very easy to actually do good world building. Because you barely have to do it. You just need to mention it here and there. That's a mine. That's a farm. This is how food gets to places.
Well, let's give some examples of fantastic world building. One,
Wheel of Time.
The cultures of Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Those are all fantastic. The Rohirrim are the way they are because they live in massive, open, grassy plains.
Right.
And all of their cities are built out of things like wood because they don't have mountains.
Meanwhile, right? Rohan, I believe it was, right?
No, that is Rohan. Rohan is the
right, Rohan, right. Who was the white city?
Gondor.
Yeah, Gondor, meanwhile, built their city into a mountain, and so therefore had lots of stone to work with.
Well, I was going to say, that's actually just from the movies. From the books, it's actually way different, and there's actually a lot of stuff that's explained better. It was built by the mountain. It wasn't built into the mountain, but stuff like Pelennor Fields is supposed to be way, way different, because Gondor, because of the way they were camped next door to Mordor, the original people who built Minas Tirith were like, we need to have... They planned like 200 years ahead. They said, we're going to wall in X amount of arable land.
Ah, yes.
And that's what Pelennor Fields was. They walled in X amount of arable land to support X population.
Right. So
that the city, right, because Gondor was a mega city. It was a 7-tiered city.
Right.
With each tier getting progressively smaller, but like tiers like 1, 2, and 3 were the size of like normal medieval cities by themselves, as far as we know.
Mm-hmm. And actually, that's another point that I don't know if they ever covered in the books, but if you have a city like that and it's a medieval city, sewage actually becomes another very important part. And again, you can then incorporate this into your story where, say they're chasing a criminal and he uses the aqueducts to get away. The aqueducts is what's carrying water in.
It was never specifically mentioned in Gondor, but we know that Gondor had sewage because Osgiliath had proper sewage.
Right.
So I would say, and that's another thing that's important about world building, right? This one city has proper sewage, therefore we can logically assume that the main capital city didn't have. The main capital has sewage because this, only kind of important side city had it.
Right. And you'd be surprised how easy it is to write plot and narrative once you've built up the world. You don't need to go, okay, how can I invent a scenario now for, this to happen? You can just be like, all right, let me look at my notes. Okay, so there's this thing I can use, there's this thing I can use, there's this thing I can use, there's this thing I can use. And it's why oftentimes when we're talking about RWBY and how we would do it differently, we usually end up setting up the characters or the general world that it's operating in differently, so then we can make the scenarios come out of that, because it's way fucking easier when you're like, oh, how does the criminal get away? I don't know, I guess he just vanishes or some shit. It's like, no, maybe he used the aqueducts to get away, or he used the sewage system to get away, or because of they're in the pores area and it's more ramshackle and less taken care of, he was able to slip between a wall or something. That little amount of detail just adds that much more to your story, as opposed to, oh, the bad guy's just gone, we don't know how.
Bad guy go poof.
Yeah, bad guy go poof. Does that answer your question, Pedro? Honestly, I'm impressed we only got 3 people left here. Even though we've actually been discussing, like, the educational writing and editing portions of this podcast. Everyone just came for me to mock stories. Whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright. I'm going to assume if Pedro does not respond. Okay, so Pedro says yes. Thank you very much, Pedro. I appreciate. Yeah, I know you're here. I know you're here, sweet potatoes.
Potatoes, trust us. We know you're here.
Thank you. Alright, well, if that is all for tonight, then we are going to close up shop here. And we're going to see you all Tuesday. Because, of course, there is always more. And it always gets worse.